and I knocked on their door and I was like, hey, and they're like, oh my God, it's you. Like, you sold us the house. Like, you're the one on TV. I'm like, yeah. And the mom said, hey, could you come in and talk to my daughter? She's 11 years old. She plays sports, but she's very, very awkward. And you might have something to say for her. Now imagine this.
Welcome to the Raw and Real podcast. Are you dreaming of changing your life through opening a business? Or are you curious what obstacles entrepreneurs had to overcome on their journey? Then you're in the right place. My name is Agnes Billig and I'm your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Raw and Real. Today's guest on the show is the one and only Forbes Riley. For those of you who don't know who Forbes Riley is, she's an award-winning TV host and motivational speaker, the inventor of the fitness product SpinGym, and she's today's leading female entrepreneur with over $2.5 billion in sales. Thank you so much for joining me today, Forbes. I'm super excited to talk to you.
I know you are. You're just adorable, and you remind me of me, God, like 30 years ago.
I'll take that.
You have better hair than I ever had.
I don't believe that. But I would love to dive first into your story because what I've heard, you haven't been always this like good-looking, extroverted superstar that you're today. So can you tell us a little bit about the way how you grew up and how you started your career?
Yeah, it's actually, it's funny. The older you get, the longer the story becomes. And I actually started doing a thing where I am doing my story. It's called An Evening with Forbes. Stories to Remember, a Night You'll Never Forget. Because it is the story of a goofy little girl who grew up in Long Island, New York, grew up talking like this with like a New York accent, and life was fine. I had two beautiful parents. At age 8, though, I got hit in the face with a little baseball bat. And it's funny because my son is dealing with this now also. He's got a bit of a broken nose. He's like, Mom, can I get my nose fixed too? And my parents never did. He's 17. And I guess it's kind of funny how it just kept growing. That, and I had braces for 8 years, and I had a tongue thruster, so I talked to her funny for a while. I had very frizzy hair. And when I was growing up, fast food was all the rage. Vegetables only came in a can. You could get canned asparagus and canned peas, and gosh knows, that's all we ever ate along with TV dinners. We didn't have a whole lot of money. The one thing I had, though, was I had my ability to dream. Nobody could take that away from me. And I was very smart in school and really smart to the point where I was really lonely. I'm sure you knew that geeky kid who always knew the answers, always had her hand up, got straight A's, and nobody liked her. I was that goofy girl. And as I watch my twins now, they're very popular kids. Everybody in high school likes them. My daughters had sleepovers. I never had a sleepover. My parents would have never allowed it anyway, but it was not even I got close to friends that way. I was always friends with the parents. And so my reason for telling that is that if you're listening and you felt like a bit of an outcast, good for you. I have discovered, having gone back to a lot of high school reunions, and in my high school of 3,000 people at Oceanside, and I can say this, I'm probably one of the more famous ones. If you peaked in high school, you peaked too soon. Yeah, but you don't know that when you're 16 or 17. And I talk to so many kids in rescues who want to commit suicide or want to end it all or don't know where they fit in. Let me tell you something. The cool thing about the internet right now is you're going to meet a lot of people like me who are very successful, who definitely did not fit in. I'm not sure that Elon Musk or Mark Cuban or Tony Robbins at 6'7" fit in. And the funny thing is, if you don't fit in, what do? You stand out. And so I've been told by Mark Twain that, not personally, but that there's two great moments in your life: the moment you're born and the moment you figure out why you were born. And so for me, it's been a very long evolution. My dad was in the hospital for 3 years, a horrible accident, and again, taught me to dream. The funny thing I've come to remember is looking out from his hospital room on the top floor of the hospital, overlooking the only mansion in my hometown. And you couldn't see it from the street because it was all trees. But from up there, which is kind of ironic, you could see the giant circular driveway and the two big chimneys in this mega $1 million house like they had in the movies. And I remember saying to myself, wow, what is Christmas like in that house? Are their parents not? All these things that I would dream that you get asked out by the boy who lives there. I mean, my dreams were so vivid. And I actually took to writing them down.
Wow.
I kept journals since the time I was a little girl. And there's a book lying around here somewhere that I just shared with my daughter. I think it's over there. That from the very earliest time, I had the same dreams. I was going to go on a safari to Africa. I was going to own a plane. I was going to own a big house with a jacuzzi, 5 bedroom. I have all these things listed. And I would write the same dreams every year. So I'm going to encourage you that apparently that works. We call it manifesting. In fact, my latest book, this one, is called What Have You Forbes Lately?
Yeah.
Well, to Forbes something, my Agnes, means to manifest it, especially when no one thinks it's possible. And so who in your life doesn't think that you can go off and do anything you want? Odds are your parents. I remember when I made more money than my dad, I was so proud of myself, but there was a look on his face that he was actually a little disappointed because it didn't mean that I wasn't doing great. It means that he hadn't done as well as he'd hoped. So
Ah,
you must surround. Yeah, isn't that funny? I remember his look. It was really painful, actually, looking back on it, because the most he'd ever really make, he broke through that $100,000 mark. And as an independent guy who didn't have a college education, that was a big deal.
for
And I came
sure.
home one day, yeah, and I came home and I was like, Dad, look at my tax. I've only made 125,000 this year. And he was like, great. And it wasn't until many years later that I realized a little twinge of proud of her, but damn. So you've got to be very careful who you tell your dreams to, because a lot of people out there are dream smushers. Oh, who do you think you are? You think you're all that. Stick away from dream smushers. There's a lot of us who are mentors who have gone down the road. We're like, yes, Agnes, at your age. I mean, you and I talked the other day. I'm like, go travel, go live your life. Don't take a job, whatever you do. In my 20s, I lived all around the world. I had a backpack and a Walkman. That was an early day of an iPod. And I traveled around Europe for 6 months on my own. Literally. No, just literally bought a one-way airline ticket and a Eurail pass way back when. I forged the Eurail pass 3 times. I still have it. I did.
Wow.
Because it was in ink back then. I don't know if you can do that now, but my 6 became an 8, which is from June until August. Trust me, I did a lot of crazy things. I slept outside train stations. I slept in a cave when I got to Greece. I didn't care. I was hell bent to see the world.
Mhm.
And then when I got home, I decided I wanted to be James Bond. Well, that's an interesting dream, don't you think? I didn't want to be a Bond girl. I wanted to snow ski, water ski, play with gadgets, have pens. That's what I wanted. And so I set out to make that happen. And I will tell you, it's been a life worth telling about because it's been extraordinary.
And because you mentioned before that you were, not completely fitting in high school, and you didn't really have sleepovers. So I can imagine that you had also quite a lot of insecurities because of that, especially at that age. So how did you manage to really get the guts and at some point like audition for movies?
You know what? I did it anyway. I was always insecure. In fact, I'm going to publish this at some point. I just came across what my acting teacher wrote about me when I was 15 years old. And it's not incredibly complimentary. It is on some level. I kind of really had to read. I remember reading that at 15, being devastated because
I
I
can
auditioned and
imagine.
I never got the lead in the play. And he rewrote to me that I was a little too presentational and whatever. It's a long, long note.
Yeah.
Well, the irony is, like I said, I'm the only one in my high school drama class who's on television and has made movies. So I just had a belief in the back of my mind, you're going to laugh at this, that I was special, that I was meant for something. And I kept that little fire going. And I was put down, I was bullied, I was on Broadway, and I was told to go to Overeaters Anonymous. I was always massively insecure and told that I wasn't good enough, but it didn't matter. And then here's what happened to me, and this is a very true story. Senior year of high school, senior year of college, I had auditioned for the plays all along. I got one little part in some small 2-character play, but it was a good play, and it was a good director, and I loved what I did. And I died at the end of it. And I remember my little sister came up to me, she's like, I'm never going to believe you again. I thought, oh, that's good to know. I auditioned for the senior play, and it was Shakespeare's As You Like It. And the character of Rosalind is a troublemaker. She is an instigator. She plays a boy. She dresses up as a boy. She's just, it's an amazing role for a woman to play, right? So I auditioned thinking, I'm going to get townsperson number 3. Well, I auditioned. I looked at the call board, and my name was not there. And I'm like, I didn't even get that. Damn. And I looked up to see what person, lucky girl, got the lead, and there was my name. And I looked at it and I went to the director, Professor David Richmond, and I said, I think you may have made a mistake here. I don't even know if I can do this. It's a lot of work. Why did you pick me? And he sat me down and he said, buddy, I think probably I see a lot in you. He said, I see a lot of pain, a lot of anguish, a lot of bravado. You're great. He just went on and on. Now, here's the crazy thing about Professor David Richmond. Agnes, he was 100% legally blind. He directed from his ears only. He couldn't see anything about what I looked like, except what somebody might tell him. And when he described me back to me, I had a moment. I was 19 years old. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take that as for the first time that somebody who can't see is the one who sees me.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my parents and I said, I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to go off to New York. I'm going to give it a shot. I have nothing to lose. I'm 20 years old and I'll find a place to live and I'll figure it out. And they didn't have a lot of money. So I pretty much did it all on my own. And I have crazy stories to tell about how I did that. I started my first company in my 20s because of that, doing singing telegrams. And it's been a journey ever since. And the first movie I ever auditioned for was called Splatter University. Again, I didn't think I was going to get the lead in it. I just was auditioning. First movie. I walked away with the lead role in my first feature film. And you can see it now. It's on YouTube. It has its own fan page. And it's, one of those slasher kind of movies. But I starred in it. I was so excited. And I've watched it recently. And I'm like, a lot of people who really like what I did. Now, it didn't turn into the Julia Roberts career I would have liked. But I don't know that that's what I was meant to do. If that were the case, I wouldn't have my fitness product. I wouldn't be who I am. And so sometimes you don't get what you think you want so that you get what you need. And you have to trust that you are here to accomplish something. And then work your life to figure that out. And the least you should figure out is how you're here to help somebody else. You're doing that at a very young age. You reached out through the internet, found me, and I said yes. I could have said no. I'm sure a lot of famous people would say no because they don't know you or it's not a big enough audience. Sure. I look at you and I see this glowing young woman who, if I can inspire just you, even if no one else is listening, I know they're listening on Facebook here, to take action, to believe in you. And I'll tell you something, I've had a very magical life. Here's one of the magical moments, and I treasure these. I went home to the house I grew up in. My parents lived there for 40 years. I moved out when I was 17 to go to college. And they didn't sell the house. After they both passed away, my sister and I sold the house. And the family that bought it still lived there. And I knocked on their door and I was like, hey. And they're like, oh my God, it's you. Like, you sold us the house. Like, you're the one on TV. I'm like, yeah. And the mom said, hey, could you come in and talk to my daughter? She's 11 years old. She plays sports, but she's very, very awkward. And you might have something to say for her. Now imagine this. I get to walk in. It's a very small house. It's a little tiny 3-bedroom, like tiny house. I walk into the kitchen that I grew up in, being who I am now, 40 years later, talking to a little version of what looked like me, telling her, I know I'm going to start to cry, telling her that her being bullied or her being awkward it's all going to work out. How do I know that? Because it did work out for me. And I was that. And I will tell you, that one moment, it's like, oh my God, did somebody, like, those movies like Inception where you can fold time?
Yeah.
Did somebody magically whisper in my ear that I could do it anyway? That my big, weird, goofy thighs and my frizzy hair, and it didn't matter. At some point, I would have the 2 kids and the great life and the big house, even though I don't know it right now.
And how do you really find the strength inside of you? Because there are so many ups and downs, and this belief in yourself is such a big thing, because I think there are days when you do believe, but then suddenly everything goes wrong and you just like ask yourself like, why and how should this be okay?
No, my girl. I never ask why. I don't care why. In fact, that's a myth. That will kill you. I mean, I raised a beautiful boy from the age of 8 to 19 before he was murdered on the streets of Los Angeles, shot 10 times back. I don't ask why. I know why. Why is because the system is broken. Why? Because the kid who killed him had no mentor. Why? Because nobody cares. That's why. I know why. You do too. Why is there riots right now in the middle of this country? Because 4 cops seem to have murdered a Black man. Why? Because we're angry, we're confused, it's a crappy world on some level, or life is life. And I'm going to tell you something. Wake up every morning and be freaking grateful. Why? Because my girlfriend, Christine, who I met in the park when she was SpinGymming at 13, has got cerebral palsy. She'll never walk. She's in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. I'll tell you what, you and I are pretty damn lucky. Get up, get out, and go work out and go have some fun. Live your life. There's no why. When you die, it just doesn't matter. It maybe matters to somebody who loves you, but how many people have died before you? So if this life is a gift, every morning that you wake up and you're like, I'm on this side of the dirt. What do I want to do now? What do I want to accomplish? And by the way, the only people who get upset are the ones who think it's supposed to be easy. No, it's supposed to be hard. Go back 200 years before they had toilets and electricity and cell phones. That was freaking hard. They had pandemics back then. People were dead in the street everywhere. We're going, I have to stay home and watch Netflix. Screw you. I have Grubhub. I can get food delivered to my door. None of this is hard. I was in a hospital for 10 days, had a kidney stone that went septic. I almost died. That week was really freaking hard. And I still pushed through. Why? Because now I do have the 2 kids and I want to be there and I want to see them get married. Figure out a reason that you're here. Your reason right now, Agnes, should be that you just want to have fun. My reason for the first 20 years of my life was like, I just want to write stories about a wonderful life. I want to have adventures. I want to be James Bond. I want to learn to fly planes and scuba dive. Is every day fine? No. There's some days that really, really, really suck. But how dare you think that they're all supposed to be wonderful? That's the big myth. So I do not believe that everything happens for a reason. Nobody's keeping score. Things happen and you go, let me figure out the reason for this. There I am doing flying trapeze in Mexico at a Club Med, and I miss and I fall and I snap my finger off, literally almost off. Why? Because I was pushing the limits. Why? Because I was having fun. That really sucked. Keep going. I got my nose fixed. I've been bullied. Guess what? Welcome to the game of life. And the ones who get disappointed are the ones that are told, oh, you're just the most special thing in the world. You know what? You're only special if you want to be special. You're only going to attract the people in your life that you deserve to. Are people going to hurt you and screw you over? Oh, hello. I've been screwed out of money. I've been hurt. And guess what? Still here. I am best friends with a woman who is 94 years old. I have been blessed to meet her and her husband. Her husband's name is Jack LaLanne. You may not know him, but he started the word fitness. In 1945, he started the very first health club ever, had a TV show in black and white for 37 years. When I met him when he was 88, we launched a juicer. And for 8 years, that juicer sold around the world in 80 countries. It grossed $1 billion. You know the cool thing about Jack LaLanne? He's the freaking happiest man on earth. The reason that Elaine is 94 and gets up every day and is just chipper as all get out is her attitude. That is actually all you have. Ask Nelson Mandela. How did he survive being in jail for 27 years? Attitude. You can't break somebody who can't be broken, who doesn't give in to all the bullshit that most people do. Turn off the news if it doesn't help you. Turn on inspirational speakers. Go out and meet great people. Be nervous. Do everything. Whatever literally have a bucket list of life and start checking it off. I mean, Agnes, what's next on your list? Did you know you'd have a podcast and talk to me? No, you just said, I'm going to try this.
Yeah, for sure.
So stop taking it all so seriously. Enjoy it to know and bless every day that you walk outside. Go sit on the beach and watch some clouds. How did they get there? How did the sun happen? What's the moon like? Where's it? Enjoy it. It's a lot more fun than people realize, because the truth is you don't have to be here. You could end it at any moment, but I have no desire to go anywhere. And by the way, this particular thing, this is a little bit of my heart. I love my SpinGym. No one thought this was going to go anywhere. Yeah. When I launched it on a reality show, I was embarrassed and hurt and told to go home. It would never work. Well, screw you. It worked. I figured it out anyway. Was it ups and downs? Yeah. But what roller coaster do you ever want to go on? Nobody goes on a roller coaster ride to go straight, do you? Big ups, big down. Big up again. Think about it. I love roller coasters.
How long after did it actually work? So what was the time span from when you presented it on TV and then it didn't work and then you really made it work?
Oh, probably about a year and a half. And
Wow.
then when it didn't, oh, but more than that, in the middle of all that, I got called into US Customs. They almost threw out all my inventory. And there's actually a very interesting video on that. We could spend an entire 2 hours talking about how SpinGym happened, didn't happen, happened again, almost failed. And then I will tell you, my best day with this thing, talk about a roller coaster, it sells for $30. I sold 61,000 of them in 24 hours on TV and got a check for $1.2 million for 24 hours. I'll
Wow.
tell you, you got to go on the ride. You got to go on the ride. You got to go and believe that you can do this. Yeah, that was an amazing day.
So what really changed in your
Here's
approach?
the other thing.
Because you struggled for 1.5 years and then suddenly something changed and then it like exploded.
But that's how everything changes. You know, do you ever bake a cake? Before it gets really good and fluffy, it's really squishy and icky. You got to wait long enough. So big dreams take time. I don't know anybody's dream that's ever happened overnight. That's a lie. Yeah. That is an absolute blatant lie. There is no dream that happens overnight. And most people quit before it gets really good. Most people give up before they can really do it. On the other side of that, some people pursue a dream that's not really worth doing their whole life. Like my dad had all these inventions that no one ever got out to the world, but he was happy. You know what? It was fine with that. Would have been nice if it happened, but he didn't have the right structure. And nowadays you can reach out. In fact, all right, I teach a class now. In fact, on Sunday nights for a whopping $19, I discovered never give anything for free because then people just don't show up. It's very fascinating because I would give away stuff all the time. So people don't value your time at all. So for I used to charge $500 for this class on Sunday nights, and it's called Pitch Secrets Master Class. I'm doing it the second time this Sunday night because there are a couple of keys to life. One of the keys is how you communicate with people. You asked me to be on your show. The way you pitched me got me to say yes. You didn't sell me anything. And in fact, I don't need to sell this to you, but if I said, guess what, Agnes? I created the greatest fitness product on the planet. Do you want to see it? What would you say?
I would say yes.
As soon as you get a yes, girl, now we're going to play. Now we're going to have some fun. And then you're going to tell me how much you want it. I never sell anybody anything. I introduce, I excite, I engage, and I enroll. And if I teach you how to truly do that in your life, anything you want is yours.
So what do you think is the key when we meet someone new to leave that long-lasting impression and to stay on top of mind?
Give more than you get. When somebody comes into my life and says, you know, can I have this or no? If you come into my life and you contribute to my life, then I'm happy to give you. It's really kind of a weird fine line. It takes some practice. Be relevant, be interesting, build your world. I teach a class after my pitch class called Crush It on Camera. How do you build your world? That's what you're doing right now. You're building content. You're out there making it happen. I showed you a video that I haven't shown in a long time. In the very early days, nobody wanted me to be on TV. So I went to my local cable station and I said, I want to do something. What can I do with you? They said, well, we'd like to interview some restaurants. I said, well, great. We'll make the show called We'll Work for Food. I had a little sign that I held up made out of cardboard, and I went interviewed restaurants. That was my very first demo tape because they don't want you until they know you can do the job. Sometimes you don't get to do the job before they want you. Well, nowadays, all you do is take your phone and you can start your own TV show. Now there's no excuses. That did not exist when I was growing up. So the truth is, number one, figure out what you want. I can clearly tell you I wanted to be James Bond. Well, if you want to, then you work it backwards because you begin with the end in mind. That meant I want to live a life of adventure. That means you get to be nervous a lot. And by the way, James Bond is not a very calm guy in the back reading a book. He's always on the edge of disaster. That means you push the envelope. That means I got a pilot's license when I was 16 years old. I'm not kidding about what I wanted. I've scuba dived on walls that went down hundreds of feet. I really wanted to push the limits. I did a lot of those things. I've skied off mountains that I thought, well, we're going to die here because that's what fascinated me. Okay. That's not for everybody. But can you truly answer the question, what do you want? So Agnes, I'll ask you, and then actually I've got to go in a couple minutes. What do you want? Answer the question. What do you want?
Well, I want to live in a world where people are open with each other, and we
Okay,
can.
so stop. So stop. That's not a good want, because that's a dream that might happen, that might not happen. The
All right.
question, the big word is you.
Me.
What do you, now you can live in you can create an environment that has that, but what do you want for you?
I want to love what I'm doing and be paid for it. And I don't want to end up at a corporate company and be stuck in.
No. Stop. Every little word matters. Remember I said, I just want to be James Bond. I didn't say I want to be James Bond. Blah, blah, blah. I just said those words.
Okay.
You said, I want to love what I'm doing. Do you love what you're doing?
I do.
Right now? Great. So that's good. What was the second one?
And I want to be paid for it.
Okay. Paid for what? What do you want to be doing?
Well, I don't want to
know what you don't want. Listen to the words. The universe can only help you if you tell them what you want. What do you want to be doing?
creating content.
You're already doing that, because you were about to say, when I stopped you, and I don't want to work for a company. Then don't. I think you guys missed the point of the I want game. I want to every day have somebody tell me that I inspire them. I want to kiss the sexiest man on the planet. I got that. I want to have the most two wonderful children and every day tell them I love them. I got that. And every day I want that again. I want to be able to kiss them goodnight and give them hugs. And my 17-year-old son this morning gave me the biggest hug. I hear all the time, oh, my teenage son doesn't want me. Not his fault, yours. My teenage son gives me the best hugs and kisses in front of his friends. How did I create it? Because I wanted that. And I'm not joking about that, because I remember when they were little, somebody said, oh, when they grow up, they'll never, it's embarrassing in front of you have to drop them off a block from school. And I said, oh, no. I want my son and daughter to love me. How do you do that? Sometimes you have to leave them alone. Sometimes you have to give them space to grow up and then go, hey, mom, how come you weren't around? I'm like, well, tell me that you want me and I'll be back here. So you get what you want. Don't tell me what you don't want. So one more time, Agnes, what do you want?
I want to be successful as you are.
Okay, now that's an interesting, again, listen to those words. I want to be as successful as you are. Be careful what you wish for. I've paid a big price to be who I am. I witnessed a mass shooting in Las Vegas. On my iPhone, I recorded all that. That makes me who I am. You don't want that. So I would redesign when you say you don't want what I have.
Okay.
You want to be successful. And then I would tell the universe, I want to be successful at what? I want to be as successful an actress as Jane Fonda. I want to, and I'm not kidding about, you have to design what you want, like you would call a delivery company.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, food delivery company. Yes, ma'am. What do you want? I want Chinese food. No. I want to. Oh, God, I don't know what I want. They hang up on you. Listen to that. The universe will hang up on you if you tell them what you don't want. They're like, I don't know what she wants. Give her whatever she gets. Hey, food company. Yes, ma'am. What do you want? I want a Caesar salad, extra chicken, croutons on the side. At your home, 20 minutes later, what shows up? Not chicken soup. Oh, Caesar salad, extra, exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you that is the great secret to the universe. Ask it for exactly what you want. I want to be creating content for Variety magazine because I want to interview A-list movie stars. That's a want. And it's not a want forever. It's just what I want next. Mm-hmm. I want to write a book that highlights 36 authors to tell their stories. Got it. Done. Off my checklist. I want to make fitness easy for anyone to do in their house and take a crazy little invention and blow it up to be $100 million company. I want to own my own skincare company with ingredients that I think really nurture your skin. I want to write a little book with I'm not kidding about how specific. And most people, even you playing this game, had a hard time playing the game. And it's just a game. Think about it. When you can play the game the way I play it, you will get. It's called the law of attraction or secret, whatever you want to call it. Most people you're going to meet, if you try this, they have no idea. I want financial freedom. Okay, you know what financial freedom is? It is you living under a bridge in a cardboard box No phone, no light bill, no housing bill. You do not want financial freedom. Well, that's not what I said. Well, that's what the universe heard. If you said, I want financial freedom by having passive income of $100,000 a month, now you know what happens? Then your brain goes, well, what did she mean by that? What's passive income? Okay, do we know somebody who makes $100,000 a month? Let's go interview. You see how it leads you on a path?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I know how to do. And I do it really well every single day.
Obviously.
Right. Do you always get what you want? The funny thing is you actually do. I had somebody just put a quote out for me that said, dreams are free. It's free to dream, but most people don't ever dare to really do it. Dream so big it scares you. Dream so big you're afraid to tell somebody because they'll laugh at you.
I think
I want to start
that you're afraid to tell people about it because, it's
bullshit. Tell them anyway. Because it's too big for their little heads to comprehend, then you've got a dream. I came home with Europe on $20 a day, and I said to my parents, I'm going to go see all of Europe based on this book and $2,000. And my mom was like, you're crazy. I'm like, I know. Who's going with you? Nobody. What do you mean nobody's going with you? I don't need anybody to go with me. I'm going to do it on my own. People thought I don't really care what people think. Stop listening to people who play smaller than you do. Why would you listen to them? You want inspiration? Call me. But wait a second, that Forbes Riley, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram going, is this a good dream? And I'll tell you. Odds are it's not. Odds are you don't dare to dream big enough at all.
And how do you help people to really break through those limiting beliefs and clear up the negative experiences that are holding them back?
Get a pen and write this down. www.forbesfactorlive.com. I have a 3-day training I do online. And there is nobody who's gone through my training that doesn't break through, break down, grow up. I have a unique ability to look at you and push you because I can see your limiting beliefs all over the place. I also know they're based on a decision you made on a first memory. I have all these techniques that I've developed because I don't believe in therapy. I believe you can break through a limiting belief in about 32 minutes. And then you never have to deal with it again. And I don't care if you've been raped, molested, told you don't matter. I have seen everything in 15 years. One of my students last 2 weeks ago, she was raped by her older brother from 4th grade to 6th grade. Actually, I've got to jump on a quick call. I adore you. I think that you are on the right path. Let's do this again. Let's get some feedback from your audience about questions that they would like to hear.
I would love to.
Unfortunately, I got to jump back in. Yeah, I would be happy to do that. I think that you're a little rock star.
Thank you.
I think that you need, and that you need an angel to kick your ass.
I do.
Because I know, I can feel it. And that's okay. So you've got a little angel over here. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm kind of the quintessential. That's what I do. I love doing it.
Yeah.
That's what you get for being a bored little girl. I love to talk to people on social media. But let me go get this guy before he gets mad at me. To you and your audience, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Okay. So as you can see, Forbes had to go. So I really hope that you enjoyed the conversation with her and got so much out of it as I did. She can be found on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'll put all of the relevant links in the show notes. And I would be very curious to hear what your learnings were and what you would like to know from her in the future, because as you heard, she will be back on the show. So make sure to leave a comment below the video and see you next time.